Hi, thanks for tuning in again today. This is 447, part number 6, and we're going to deal with the intake manifold. We saw how crooked it was, or warped, twisted it was in part number 5. So I'm going to go through the process of how I machine this off and actually make it nice and flat so that when it goes back together, the gaskets are not going to leak. So follow along and we'll go through what I go through to fix these. What I need to do next is I need to align the cylinders, and I need something flat to go across. So on these singles where I don't actually have a plate, I'm going to use the intake manifold, but these things are very rarely ever flat here. So before I could do that, I have to make sure that this is flat. So I'm going to move over to the surface plate, the stone, and run it on some paper and see how crooked it really is. Just to lay this down here and see, wow, look at that. This thing, all of these single manifolds all seem to be the same way. So it's got a real warp or a twist or whatever you want to call to it. So I don't know how any of these, I don't even know how they seal actually when it was like that. But at any rate, I'm going to make this flat, and then we'll be able to use this to align the cylinders, and we'll know that it's flat so it doesn't leak. So some medium grit emery cloth. So I'm looking for something that's going to take material off in a hurry. I don't think I want to put it in the milling machine, but if it takes too long, I will. So I'm just going to go straight here and see what I got. Yeah, so of course way high in the corners. Wow, I don't know. I think you're going to have to put this in the milling machine and fix it. I mean, this is off. Wow, that's probably like a 1/16 of an inch or something in there. Yeah, I think this thing's going to go in the milling machine. I'll be all day here. My arms will be tired out by the time I get this um, sanded down flat. So I've separated the manifold and surfaced this part to make sure it's flat. So this will be going down in the mill vise, and then we'll go from there. I've got a end mill in here now, so I'll get the machine set up so that I can get the cutting surface over here, and we'll make this flat. There's the result of the milling machine. So I'd like to just to go over it with some 220, because it does put some little circular marks in it, although they're very small. I mean, I could use it the way that it was, I'm sure, but with some 220 wet paper here, I can get this to be really nice. So yeah, well, that's good. I'll just give it a couple more passes on here and then I'm happy. Doing this in a figure 8 movement. So I'm just drawing a figure 8 with the part, which is what we're supposed to do. I mean, going back and forth like this would work, but this keeps it even all the way around. There we go. That's a lot of 8s. All right. Yeah, now that's got a gorgeous finish on it. I'll wash that up and we're all ready to go. So now I have to treat my surface plate nicely, my surface stone. So I'll give it a wipe and then I'll put its cover back on top so that it can't get damaged. And by the way, yes, this is a piece of an old binder that I had because I was about the right size, and I thought it was appropriate to put this the inventory or tools after each job on it. Transport Canada was kind enough to supply that. It's a good deal to do that because, well, you won't lose any tools and then they won't end up hitting in the propeller or somewhere else. So now, why do we need to put something across the face on the intake to keep it all straight? Because with the cylinders, as you can see, they can move around wherever they want to go. And if it's tightened, the cylinder head's tightened up when it's like this with the tight at the back and loose at the front. This is of course not flat. So we're going to have a gasket leak here for sure. So now that I have such a nice flat manifold to use on here, then this is going to be my straight edge. Now, because I'm missing the gaskets in there, I'm just putting a couple of washers on it for now, just to make up the difference in the spacing. And then I'll snug it up, and then I'll have the cylinders will be nice and they'll be parallel down this way for the exhaust manifold and the intake manifold to go onto. So if I've got them a little set apart. See, the gap at the back is much tighter back here than here, and I'm not going to tighten these with the gun. I'm just going to run them, but and of course there we've got a beautiful, perfectly straight line in between there. Now these I don't really want super tight because the cylinders are still going to move around a little bit while I'm actually installing this. So tightening, torquing one head versus the other. So I'm just going to get them so they're like finger tight. Just got a little teeny ratchet here. It's finger tight. Now they can still move, and you can probably see it up here. They can still move as a pair, forward and backwards. What I generally do is push them forward, push them backwards, and then get them about halfway in the middle, and I'm happy with that. So now's the time we'll put the cylinder heads on and we'll torque this all up. I hope you enjoyed the process that I go through to repair these manifolds, make them nice and straight and true so they don't leak. I've never seen one of these manifolds that is actually true or straight or flat, whatever you want to call it, so that it'll seal properly when it's reassembled. So if you're doing anything with one of these manifolds, you really should make sure that you check this out properly, and if it needs to be repaired, have it repaired. Sand it yourself on the block, as I was doing in the video part number 5. So, you know, anything, you don't have to have a fancy milling machine to do it. But I don't know, I'm getting older now. I just don't feel like rubbing and sanding for 2 hours to fix it. But if that's all you got, that'll work too. So anyway, thanks so much for tuning in today. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you again another day. Safe flying. Have a great day. Bye now.